Hey guys, I'm the C-Man235, and yep, we're doing this type of video again, but this time I have footage, so it's special. Yay! So I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 recently, and as of this point, I've pretty much beaten everything important in KH1 and KH2 on Standard, and I've seen the movies of 358 Recoded, and by seeing them, I mean I pretty much skip cutscenes because I don't give a shit about Recoded story, and while I like 358's story, I've already seen it, so I don't need to see it again. I've only played a little bit of Recom, and I've only played the very first section of Birth by Sleep. Like, I'm not that far into the game. With that said, I wanted to go over some of the problems that I still think need to be patched. Keep in mind this won't be everything, because there are still numerous issues that speedrunners are running into. I'm mainly going to go over the issues that I think casuals will mostly notice. I'm not going to go too much into the physics and how they're different, because honestly, even though they are different, I did notice a few differences. They aren't too bad, honestly. I actually don't think they're that bad. Like, for example, like the physics are a bit the weight's a bit, the falling speeds and weight are a bit different, but it doesn't change the game too much, at least for casuals. For speedrunners, I'm sure it changes everything, but for me, I didn't really change it that much. I still played the same way I do in every KH2 playthrough I've done, so nothing's really different. I also know I'm not the most qualified since I'm more of a casual Kingdom Hearts fan. I'm more of a newbie when it comes to the series. I mean, I only started playing the games like a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, so I know I'm a relative newcomer, but I figured I'd touch on these issues anyway, since a lot of these issues are going to affect everyone, especially new fans of the series who need a good first impression for it. So I still say it's important for people like me and others in my position. The first issue I'll touch upon that some people have been running into, and by some I mean pretty much everyone ever since the PS3 versions, is sound issues. KH1 and KH2 have sound issues, and I think even Rechain of Memories also has sound issues, which I haven't played that much of Rechain of Memories, so I can't speak for them. Mainly because, again, I haven't played much of it, but, you know, whatever. Apparently it has sound issues, and that's really fucking unacceptable if it does, by the way, swear. Because they didn't have sound issues in 1.5, and it didn't have sound issues on the PS2 version, so I don't know what the hell a soccer team did to their own game. But with that said, KH1, which didn't have issues on 1.5 on PS3, by the way, now has sound issues. In fact, some of them I've even gotten on my playthrough. Some finisher sound effects sounded very staticky, some just got cut off altogether. I don't think it's my HDMI cable. Everything worked perfectly fine for the most part for the other games, and it happened rarely, but there were points where the sound issues did pop up. They don't break the game by any means, and they probably won't even be noticed by casuals, except for maybe one or two where they've had the volume up to a high level, and then suddenly it happens, and they're just like, what the hell happened there? And just move on with their life. But at the same time, it is still a little embarrassing that they can't really do sound effects right, especially when their own game is apparently fucking up. Like, Rechain of Memories, that was an Osaka team game. That was their first game. So how they screwed that up, I'm not really sure, but they screwed it up somehow. Good on you guys. Good on you. You did good there. KH2 also has sound issues, and this is something that has happened since the PS3 version. I'm not sure if Birth by Sleep has any sound issues. Maybe it does, knowing how bad these guys are at porting games, apparently. But, you know, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. If it doesn't, well, then by all means leave it in the comments. I do know KH2 has sound issues, though. If I actually take a look at BizKit's 2.5 video, I've actually gotten some of those sound effects to play. So it's not that they've been removed, more like they just play very infrequently. Some sound effects, however, just don't play at all anymore. Like, I believe Jafar's first quote when you start the battle, like, half of it is completely cut. Granted, I actually think it sounds a little better that way, but regardless, it is still embarrassing that that was cut due to a stupid bug. Granted, this is probably like very nitpicky stuff. I understand that most casuals will not give a shit, but at the same time, it is still rather embarrassing. So, they should take the time to fix it, even if it's the last thing they fix, which, granted, compared to some of the other issues we're going to talk about later on, it probably should be the last thing they fix. Now, thankfully, there were a few things that were fixed in 1.5 and 2.5 on the PS4, not just through patching, but also just when the first English release came out. For example, the English version of 1.5 and 2.5 actually had a bug, well actually no, 2.5 specifically actually. When you go limit form on the Xemnas 1 fight, which is essentially Xemnas, when you're fighting Xemnas where Roxas and Riku fought each other, you know, the building. When you use the reaction command and you go limit form in the fight, it automatically crashes your game. It doesn't matter if you dismiss limit form either, it's still going to crash your game. Simply using limit in the fight fucks up the game somehow. I'm not really sure how, but that happens in the PS3 version. Go check if you want proof, if you want to crash your PS3. Granted, in the PS4 version, it does not happen anymore. I'm going to assume because Soralum 1 showed it off at PAX East for everyone to see, Square Enix was embarrassed by it, so they decided to patch it. Good on you for that one, Soralum 1. Thank you for doing that. However, unfortunately, Xemnas is still not perfect, mainly because the final Xemnas reaction command, where you're supposed to use reversal, still is bugged. It does not show up at certain points, and this is still something that can definitely happen. Just use Riku's session limit to get through it, but it's still embarrassing that we have to have a workaround for something that worked perfectly fine in the original, and now works around 75% of the time. No, that's being too generous. More like around 25% of the time. That's a little better. I don't have any proof for this, but I do know it's still in the game because people are still bitching about it. And apparently Square Enix did respond to this by saying that it wasn't broken. Whoever said that needs to really just get slapped in the face. Like seriously. You need to be slapped in the face. Probably the biggest thing that needs to be fixed though, and this is a really big deal, save crashing is still in the game. There is a simple fix for this. Just don't play KH2 on the ports. Or better yet, you just don't buy the ports until they patch it. But we know it's going to sell, so blah. I'd recommend just not playing the KH2 port for right now, at least until they just fix this simple issue that they have yet to fix. Like, how long has it been? It's been like over a month at this point, and they still haven't fixed it. Granted, I'm pretty sure that's probably due to the European and the US release, but come on, you couldn't finish it for the international versions? Really, Square? This problem needs to be fixed. Granted, again, I haven't heard any corrupted saves from this. There were a few people saying they got corrupted saves, but they didn't show any video proof. They didn't show any proof at all. So I'm going to assume it's just people complaining. It's kind of like how when Mighty No. 9 came out, people were saying Mighty No. 9 could brick your Wii U's, but no one actually showed any proof for this. So everyone just kind of thought it was bullshit, and I did too. And lo and behold, it turned out to be bullshit because I didn't find any proof for it. But still, the fact that save crashing is even a thing, the fact that it may be a possibility that you may lose your that you may lose your saves due to file corruption, assuming that was true, or even if it isn't true, it's just annoying that you have to redo certain like 10 or 20 minutes of progress. Heck, what if you do entire worlds and it save crashes on you? You have to do those worlds again. It's just really, really embarrassing. Oh, almost forgot to mention, Sephiroth is still broken. For some reason, they didn't fix this either. This meteor attack is still way too fast, and it's really, really hard to avoid. So, yeah. Oops. Apparently one of his other attacks is fucked up too, but I either didn't notice or it doesn't affect the game too much, but still, if it is fucked up, they probably should fix it because, you know, that is sort of kind of a bad thing. Square Enix, please patch this shit. There's no reason why these games should still have bugs in them, especially since, you know, this is your second time re-releasing them. Not to mention you had time to fix them with the international release, before the international release, I might add, but again,